I'm just a lazy video gamer, even too lazy to make a new intro. Hello out there in Wonderland, it's me again, the lazy video gamer. And today I want to talk about something that, in fact, if you're following my channel for a longer time, you realize maybe I missed out. Even when the t-shirt that I wearing doesn't show that I'm a huge Sega fan, you maybe see it in the back that there is a specific Saturn game running, the Yakuken special, but this episode has nothing to do with erotic video games. It has to do with platformers. Also, I want to mention before I start, I will featuring any Sonic games in this episode. Why? Well, the answer to the question is simple, but also a little bit sad. There was Sonic R, who is in fact a racing game, right? There was Sonic 3D, who was in fact a new interpretation of the Mega Drive game Sonic 3D, Flicky's Island, call it like as you like. And of course the cool collection, but it is a collection of older Sonic games, Sonic Jam, who only featured a little, let me say, 3D Sonic demo. Maybe on another occasion I will cover those games, but not before I'm going into summer vacation. Yes, you heard right. After this episode I will take my time off once again for a little break to come then back. But now sit back, relax and enjoy my episode on the platforming games for the Saturn. So, and I started with the big news from the movie scenes. But the hero of the cartoons is on headlines. In this starting title, with this great intro, you are playing as a bug. Yeah, of course. Back in the day, companies were very obsessed with these JPEG movies, this rendered movie intros. So, and it's not a surprise that the starting title has one of those. In my opinion, very funny, but I will take a shortcut in the story. Your girl is kidnapped, as always in platforming titles. What you get is a 2.5 platformer who makes a decent job for a starting title with cool music, nicely rendered graphics and solid platforming. But don't let it fool you, it has a nice look, but it is actually not an easy game. So you have to take your time to play and enjoy it. Of course, you can collect orbs to get more lives, and you will need it. Same team, same kind of backstory, and the same humor awaits you in Bob 2.
VHX. The bugs are listening.
Now your producer of your movies thinks you're so funny,
Well, fellas,
you
I brought you here
have
because I got news.
to do
Big news.
now
I'm a bug of action. I make
movies
action films, and
in
you
a
are my
row,
action star.
and
I
that
send
is
you
not
for
what
6-click
you
deals,
like,
which will be just
as you see.
today.
Well, but what I liked about this game is that there are now 3 playable characters in it. It brings some fresh wind to the table. What still is the same is the fantastic music and an enhanced graphic. One reason that Bug is playing in the movie universe, all levels are named to movies or references, some movies. Unfortunately, this game is rarer than the first one, and so yeah, if you wanna have a complete in-box copy of an original, you have not only to search for it, you would have to pay a high price if you are not lucky and find it for under $50. Mostly it's expensive. But I don't tell you how you play your games. I only can say play it and enjoy it, even with emulation or something like the Saturn Saru cartridge. Back in the day, many people said that the Saturn is a weak console or is weaker than the PlayStation. I think that is a little bit, marketing through mouths of Sony fanboys. Because as you can see, you have great transparency effects. Bubble Bobble Collection not only brings you the classical Bubble Bobble in an arcade perfect port, it also contains the sequel Rainbow Island, who is more of a platformer, but still very close to the game mechanics of Bubble Bobble. And that's not all of what is on the disc. There is also a rearranged and upgraded version of this game on the disc as well. So if you find it for cheap and you like the originals, give it a try. In the craze of Toy Story, Sega thought about their interpretation. What would happen if your toys would be alive? And that is a great part of the game Clockwork Knight. The other great part is, of course, that your fairy lady is getting kidnapped and you have to rescue her. What you awaits in the game is once again a 2.5D platformer with great music, nice graphics, but it is not a Mario, so that means it is hard. It's not an easy piece of cake to play. You have to be patient and need the will to bite you in. But if you did that, you have a great time with this mostly cheap game. Not cheap once again is Clockwork Knight 2. It's the same thing like in Bug 2. There were later titles and they were not produced in that high numbers. But back to the game. You start already with a boss fight. And that is not only cool, it is something different. After you showed which knight in the children's playroom is the toughest one, you get one of many very cool animated cutscenes. Once again with great music and this, let me say, special kind of humor in it. But once again, don't let it fool you. This is also not an easy game, but it's enhanced in every way. More details, more cool music, and a great gameplay. Also containing some very nice effects. Well, the famous Book of Argonauts, Croc, Legend of the Gobbers, on the Saturn, I talked once or twice before. If you boot up the game correctly, your hero doesn't have a head, only eyes and the nose is here. Also, I talked about that this game originally was intended to be a Yoshi game. Dinosaur and crocodile. Yeah, and it's not a big difference if you look at the sprite of Croc. Argonaut Software was in fact the producer of Star Fox. So yeah, they came with this idea to Nintendo, but they didn't like it that much. What I didn't like that much, or don't like that much today, is it has a very, let me say, unusual control with the perspective and side steps, these swappings. You have to get used to it. But once again, it was an early 3D title. Of course, not that polished like Mario 64. But if you bite your in, you will like it. So no wonder it was a success on the PlayStation and even on the Saturn. Well, US Gold, as you know, stands for quality. Okay. You maybe realize that war isn't always the truth. But in this game, they didn't done a bad job. You are Johnny Bazooka Tone. You are a rockin' platform musician hero. And yes, music is the key. With your rockin' cue some mixture of machine gun and electric guitar keyboard. You fight against the evil forces in a nice rendered scenery, and if it doesn't have to be Sonic or Mario, you will like it. Well, about Killflame Squadron 2 I also talked about once before. It is a platformer, and only in a few levels you are flying like in the good old Mega CD days on your green dragon in shoot 'em ups levels. It has a little bit a confusing control scheme, but if you are used to it, you have a great time. Unfortunately, your wallet doesn't have it. Well, I said I do not cover a Sonic game, but I said nothing about a game from Sonic Teams. Nights into Dreams is still an awesome game. As Clarice or Elliot, you play your way through 6 different levels, each with 4 different courses. The gameplay mechanic is very arcadey. You have to collect 20 blobs, bring it to these containers, then you get auto-colored bigger orb who you have to bring to your starting point. Doing tricks in air, try to collect items or fly through rings in a row brings you some bonus points, and those are important to get a good grade. Because if you have all at least C grades in the 6 levels, you get the 7th level, who is actually only a boss fight against the bad Dream Master Wise Man. Of course, this game has a cool intro who shows the story of the game. But I talked about it. What I never talked about it is what happens when you're running out of time. Nights get hurt. You are some kind in a stadium of waking up, and you're walking through the levels as your character. And hopefully don't get caught by the big alarm clock, or else it's night over and you have to try again. Rayman started on the Atari Jaguar. Nowadays, of course, you can play it on so many platforms, but back in the days it was actually the Jaguar, then the PlayStation and the Saturn. And it comes with this wonderful animated intro who tells you all about the universe of Rayman. When it comes actually to the game, it is bone shaking hard. Has great and lovely music, but it is very pretty drawn and it is a pleasure even to lose sometimes a life or two to reach the goals. From time to time you get some new abilities. This also very nice cutscenes. You get, for example, now the ability to throw your gloves or your hands, and that is what Rayman is very known for today. The hero with hands but no arms. I mentioned that it isn't an easy game. It also contains, of course, hard boss fights. But they are so nice and pretty drawn, and with this, let me say, special humor that it feels just as a happy time to play it, even when it's a little bit frustrating if you try and fail in a level at the first time, or the second, or the third. Well, the dinosaurs were back in the Lost World. And I mean that. Now you are playing as dinosaurs in the first levels, as smaller ones, later with more progress in the game, as bigger variations of the species. The platforming is solid. The graphic, it is also, in my opinion, okay for a weak 3D console. Crystal Dynamics brings us with a frame, with a border around the intro, who I'm not quite sure was that also in the PlayStation variation. Feel free to leave a commentary down below, but that doesn't change that this game has a great, let me say funny intro, and makes in general fun. You as the girl and this Harlequin accidentally spoke out a spell who brings a monster to life, who eat the world, and you have to stop it. And you do that with solid platforming, good music, nice graphics, a little bit weaker than the PlayStation version, but all in all, it's not only the same game, it is a good game, but once as well, it is a very hard game. It's not easy. And you have to be careful to don't get an early game over. So, and that was it for this episode of the Lazy Video Gamer Show. I hope you enjoyed it, and you don't be too sad that I don't feature any Sonic games. Well, I hope you have a great summer, a great time, and you see me soon. If you miss me, you can watch, of course, one of my playlists with older videos of mine who I'm thinking they're worth to watch. Mostly of it. Okay. Till then, have a great time and have a great summer.